Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to make something delicious, as always. We are making French onion lentil soup. Let's get started. You're gonna start with about 5 large onions. My onions are kind of small, so I am cutting about 7 of them. And you're going to use a yellow or sweet onion for this recipe. We're gonna take our onions and we are going to finely slice them. Try not to cry in the process. I probably will. I've tried all of the tricks that have been recommended and none of them work for me. So if you have any other great tips, please comment below and I'll be sure to try them. Cut your onion in half and then we're going to finely slice them. Mike's helping me out and he's prepared. Let's see if those goggles really help him.
The secret is the fumes of the onion are coming up, so what you want to do is you want to squat down so that you miss the onion vapors. Works every time. Highly recommend.
It doesn't work for me, sadly, but power to ya.
Power to my glutes.
Power to your glutes. All right, now that our eyes are burning and hurt like hell and we have onion peel everywhere, we are ready to get our onions cooking. So if you have a Dutch oven, that will work perfectly, or just a heavy stock pan like this. You're gonna get that on medium-high heat. And we're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of butter to the pan, as well as a tablespoon of olive oil. We're gonna add our onions. Now this is gonna be the longest process of the recipe. It's gonna take about 30 to 35 minutes to cook down your onions. So once you've added them to the pan, you're gonna stir them so they get coated in the butter. So now I've given them a good stir and you're gonna let them slowly cook down again for about 30 minutes. Make sure you stir them every approximately 5 minutes just to make sure that they don't burn. And then towards the end, when you have the last 5 minutes left, you're gonna stir every 2 to 3 minutes to really ensure that they don't burn. So as you can see now, our onions have cooked down for about 30 minutes and they have a beautiful golden brown color. And I made sure to stir it every 5 minutes so that it didn't burn. Now we have a couple minutes left, so I'm gonna add 5 cloves of chopped garlic. We're gonna cook this down for about 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, now our onions are ready to go. So we're gonna deglaze our pan, which just basically means we're going to get all of those little brown bits and yummy goodness on the bottom of our pan up. So I'm using a balsamic vinegar. You could also use red vinegar, you could use dry white wine, or you could use red wine. And I'm using about 1/4 cup. We've got our vinegar stirred in, and I'm also going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce for flavor. Give it a good shake. Okay, so typically for a traditional French onion soup, you're gonna use a beef broth. However, I don't eat beef, so we're going to use a no beef base, which gives it still the nice rich color and rich flavor. You can purchase this at almost any grocery store. It's really delicious. You just mix it into water. You could also sub vegetable stock if you wanted, or you can just simply use beef broth if you don't mind eating beef. Now I'm going to add 6 cups of our broth. Just be mindful when you're using the no beef based broth or any other vegetable or even beef broth about how much sodium it has. When we go to season our soup later, you won't want to add as much sodium just because sometimes these have a good amount of sodium already in them. So we've added our 6 cups of broth, and I'm also going to add a teaspoon of dried thyme. You could also use fresh if you have some on hand. Okay, give it a mix. And then I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of black pepper. We're gonna cover our soup, let it come to a boil, and in the meantime, we're gonna get our lentils ready. Now for our recipe, we're gonna grab 1 cup of green lentils. You could also use brown lentils. We're gonna wash and sort our lentils just to make sure there's no yucky debris or other particles in them. Yucky. Once it's boiling, add your cup of lentils. Give it a good mix. Add a bay leaf. You don't have to do that sound. Lower it to medium low, and we're gonna cook this for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so we've taken the bay leaf out of our delicious soup here, and I just wanted to give a little pointer. If you feel like your soup is a little too thin and you want it a little bit thicker, you have 2 options. 1, before deglazing your pan, add 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour and mix. Or 2, once your soup is done cooking, add either cornstarch or flour, about the same, 2 to 3 tablespoons, to a cup and mix it with water first. Then mix it in your soup, and your soup will become a little bit thicker. You just don't want to add the cornstarch or the flour directly to your soup because it will get lumpy. For our last step, you have 2 options. If you have oven-safe soup bowls, you can go ahead and do this option. If you don't, what you're gonna wanna do is grab a baking sheet, place your bread. I am using sourdough. Typically you use a baguette or a French bread, but this is what I had on hand. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to brush on some garlic butter that I just made. So it's just melted butter and garlic. We're gonna brush that onto the bread and then add our cheese. So we're using smoked Gouda. Typically you use Munster, but whatever you have on hand can work. But I would say Gouda and Munster are gonna be the top 2 choices. Okay, so I am going to spoon some soup into our dish. Look at this, it's so good. Add the garlic butter to your bread. Place it in the soup. Add your cheese. We're just gonna broil this for just a couple of minutes. Make sure to watch it so it doesn't burn until it gets nice and golden brown. It's so good. It's ready. Wow, so good. All right, we've broiled our soup for about 2 minutes. Now it's a beautiful golden brown color. The cheese is melted and it is ready to go. Mike, are you ready for your taste test?
Me?
Yes, you.
All right.
Let's do this.
French onion soup
Lentil French onion soup.
with no beef broth. Look at that cheese. So many flavors at once. I could taste the vinegar, the Worcestershire, the onions, and the cheese. And the lentils are such an amazing consistency in the soup. I love this. Wow! Mmm!
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you really enjoy this lentil French onion soup. And remember, we've got a ton more great recipes on our blog, nestinature.com. And if you loved this recipe, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks guys for watching. So yummy.